welcome to another episode of Roll or Die. Today's guest is coming to you from across the Tasman. He's a new Kiwi friend that Brentos and I and a lot of the other Aussies made friends with during our Masters training camp in Las Vegas. This guy's known as the king of the lapel. He has a lapel game that will bamboozle you. We're here to get to know him a little bit better. He is the head coach and owner of GC Team in Auckland. He's a second-degree black belt. He only goes by one name, and he is Cigano. Thanks for joining us, Cigano.
It's my pleasure. Always a big pleasure to talk about this beautiful martial art.
Mate, we appreciate you coming on. We've met a few times over the last few years over at Vegas. This time you training over there, mate, you really brought some of that lapel stuff into the gym when we were training. I felt it. Some of the other boys like, I don't want to roll. I'm like, I'll roll with them. And then like, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Can you, before we go back into your journey of martial arts, mate, can you tell us a little bit about your course that you've got going on? Because it really is very, very good.
Oh, thank you, man. The lapel game is quite interesting because I started developing this game. I play lapel since my white belt, my first contact in Jiu Jitsu, and I start see the mechanic of lapels and start using since then. And I can develop the game for the last pretty much 10 years, like some specific position that the most of them have been created. Because when you involve yourself in some kind of situation, you start seeing many gaps and many things that you can start creating things. And yeah, I'm developing this game. At the very beginning, my professor at that time just said, man, stop getting this lapel. That's so annoying. Stop doing something else. And then I insist in my game, insisting, try getting. Then 10 years later, that's the reason why I got my gym and my students and my titles and everything around the lapel. So I love lapels.
It really is interesting, mate, because you're doing lapel stuff like inside somebody's closed guard and, like you're breaking the rules, right? I remember a really good friend of mine who studied like art or something. His university teacher was like, these are the rules, You can't do, this is the way it's going to be done. And then he said the last day of his course is like, now you know all the rules. Go out and break the rules beautifully. And it's like, that's what you're doing with this lapel stuff, mate.
Yeah. When I'm teaching my students, I also explain them the basic stuff and the rules as well. As we always, since my white belt, I say, never choke no one from guard. You'll be in trouble. You extend your arms. And what I've been done was creating something that can trick the mind. I've listened some things, important things on my journey that is just hooking my mind to think a bit different. One of them was from the Grandmaster Rickson Grace. He said your jiu-jitsu should be invisible. They can't see what you're doing, and then it can surprise them. And I started developing my lapel game on this, like taking this kind of points. I'm inside the guard. I never expect I'm choke you from inside the guard, and that's a surprise come from. So this kind of things like help me to create things that can trick your mind and do something that you don't expect. So
Yeah. So
like I was saying that in that day.
Was this back in Brazil that you started your jiu-jitsu journey back in Brazil? Tell us about how you discovered jiu-jitsu.
That was interesting. I was 22 years old. I was Navy at the time in Brazil. I was military, and one of my friends started training, and he always invited me. Man, you need to start this martial art. It's amazing. Every time when he see me, he talk about jiu-jitsu. You know that annoying white belt when they start jiu-jitsu, they want to convince the world that jiu-jitsu is the best things in the world. And then he bring me up for the first session, and when I see that for the first time, I said, man, no way I'll do it. Look at that. That big fellas just sweating, hug each other. You know what everybody says. I said, no way, no way. And then he insists for 2 more weeks. Man, you should try, at least try. I said, okay, let's go. And then I remember my first day, I went to train. I'm a big fella. And then they put it to roll like this, brown belt, like a half of my size. And the guy pretty much play with me, throw me out, choke me out, armbars, triangle, many things at the same roll. Like in 6 minutes, he destroy me. I was pissed off and said, man, how this piece of shit that size can do everything that on me? That's impossible. And then that hooked me in because now I want to learn this. And then that's what was my first experience in jiu-jitsu 15 years ago, and I never stopped anymore.
It's
And
a funny journey, isn't it? You know, like we talk about, we go there, some 50-kilo brown belt or, blue belt female just bashes you in the gym. And like, what other sport would you do where you get so humbled and so kind of beaten that you're like, you know what, I have to learn this? Like, if you go and play rugby and you get bashed, you're like, well, maybe I should go play soccer or softball or something, you know? You're not gonna sit there and go, I need to learn this. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that hooked you in because the human being in the whole history, we look for. You can say no for that, but it's your instinct. We look for power. All of
Yeah.
us want to have a bit of power to be able to do something, and jiu-jitsu gives you a power that is unbelievable. Even when you're shorter, even when you're smaller or weaker, you're able to get a power inside your heart and your mind that gives you confidence, and you can do it. So who doesn't want power? It's a kind of power, and you give that for a child. My son, 8 years old, and then yesterday he was rolling a friend's gym, and then he see a little boy white belt but double of his size. Dad, can I roll with him? So look his size, and then say, I can do it. His gray belt, and say, I can do it. I can do it. So, okay, go forward. When he was able to take the guy down and go on his side control, he looked at me like I did it. So yes, that's the jiu-jitsu power. No, there's something that
That's
comes.
powerful.
yeah,
It's amazing.
and that was over in Brazil. Was it? How long between that then did you come across to New Zealand?
Yeah, that was in Brazil. I started in Brazil. I come to New Zealand 5 years ago only. Yeah,
Mhm.
I come to New Zealand 2 months before the pandemic, before the
Oh wow.
COVID.
Oof.
Oh,
Yeah, hard
what
history.
was
Yeah.
the Brazilian Navy like, mate?
Sorry.
What was the Brazilian Navy like? You said you're in the Navy?
Yeah, I was maybe for 5 years in Brazil.
Yeah, okay. So, in the military in Brazil, was everyone doing jiu-jitsu? Was that a part of what you were doing there? Like,
No,
or was
no,
that sort of totally separate?
no. Actually, they have no. In that time when I was Navy, we had no martial arts in there. And I say about that because it was the same time when I was training at that time, and then I meet a friend who bring me to jiu-jitsu. It was the same time, but not like it was not inside the Navy stuff. It was a part of it.
And so was the move to New Zealand, was that sort of for a better life? Did you anticipate that you would be setting up a gym? What tell us about the decision?
It was a fun issue because never ever in my life I thought about to get out. And two friends come first to New Zealand 2 years before me, and they talk about the country. I don't even knew about New Zealand. Don't listen about New Zealand. New Zealand is even in school we don't listen about New Zealand. I didn't even know nothing. And then this my friend come and say, man, he's amazing. It's an amazing country. It's one of the best places of the world to raise a kid and have a family. And that time I had no kid yet. And then I was convinced because I'm a crazy man. I believe I can I can start anywhere. I love this experience to start from zero and somewhere else. And my wife at that time said, no, no chance. I don't get away of my family, blah blah blah. But my first son just born, and then in Brazil is not the best place of the world to raise up your kid, and it's not quite safe. And then for that situation, that time it wasn't about money. It was about anything like this. It was about bring my family to a safe place to see him grow up in a good future, a good country with good opportunities. And that was the reason why I decided to come to New Zealand. And yeah, it was pretty much because of it, because of my family.
Is there a good Brazilian culture there in New Zealand? Like, I know here in Melbourne, like, the jiu-jitsu scene, like, there's a massive, group of Brazilian guys who are around, and they catch up, and we see them at uh, competitions all the time. What's it like in New Zealand, mate? Like where you are there quite a few Brazilians there that you kind of can catch up with?
Yeah, man. When I come 5 years ago, um, I see that different of Brazil. The each gym and each black belt was a bit each one on your side, like doing your own, and not many relationship in between. And that was quite weird for me because in Brazil we usually train together, come to visit another gyms, and And then when I first come, I needed to show there was here. So jiu-jitsu in Brazil was a hobby. In New Zealand, when I first come, I see there was opportunity to to make money, to have a business and everything. And then the only way to show that was competing. And then we had just a few 5 years ago. It was few competitions here, not many, like in Australia, for example. New Zealand is still is not on the map of jiu-jitsu world. We're working hard for that. There's some federations here working hard for that, doing tournaments. One day probably we'll be there, but not yet. So the committee is not that big yet. We had a lot of good black belts who come like 25 years ago. We start building up things here, but it's still. I like to compare like New Zealand is still when you talk about jiu-jitsu, it's still a little baby crawling. Like it's not. It's still born. It's still raising up. And then at that time, I start competing, start meeting people, and then I create the black belts meeting. And the plan was get some numbers of black belts. Hey man, let's do a black belt meet in my gym, and they bring all the black belts to train together to to improve the game and stuff, to compete overseas. And then the people like the idea. And then I've done the first black belt meet in 2022 at my gym. We put a 16 black belts together, which was an amazing thing. And then I start doing that every month, and then start becoming bigger. At the moment, I have a WhatsApp group with almost 200 black belts in the group. So
Wow.
we start for the last 3 years and a half doing black belts meet around the whole country, visiting pretty much from one point to another point of the country. We had our next one will be now in Queenstown in November in Jose's gym, Carson Gracie gym, and there's always a big party for us. For me, it's my trip of the month, like see the black belts in somewhere and then porrada time and have fun.
And what about in another sense coming to New Zealand? Was it a bit of a culture shock for you from Brazil? Like, did you have to learn English? How did your family find it?
It was really hard. That when I bring me back for this time, it's quite hard for me even to remember because I come 2 months before COVID, as I said, and my plans was just visit the country, see how the things go here, and one day maybe come back, become as a visitor at the time. But when I first come, the COVID just locked the doors, and everything was blocked. And my plans to see my family 2 months later was completely, I couldn't anymore. In resume, I spent 2 months and 2 years and 6 months without my family, my wife and son, and was one of the hardest time of my life because COVID, no English, uh, no one to count with here. Just one big friend. I met Diego, one of my now is my first black belt, but he was blue belt in that time. He was a big friend who supported me and helped me. But in a different country, no English and no family for 2 years and 6 months was quite hard. Was quite hard to support.
So you didn't have English before you went to New Zealand. Like your English is really, really good, mate. Like it's very good. So and I'm like, oh, you must have studied like back in Brazil. You're obviously studying it. So you've kind of just picked it all up in the last 5 years or something. That's incredible.
Thanks, man. I say for people when you decide make a decision and you break all the bridges behind you, you have no option to come back. You need to move forward. And when you decide to do that, you need to pretty much hug all the things, the good situation, the bad ones too. And one of the bad ones was learning English because it was really hard. But every day in Brazil, when the lockdown here and I was by myself, I talk with my wife and son by phone until 4 p.m. here in New Zealand, which was midnight in Brazil. When they go to bed and sleep, I started studying. It was pretty much every day, studying 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Try learn as much as I can. And one of the big reasons why I would like to learn English at that time was just be able. I put a big sign on my wall like I need to be grateful with the people who is helping me, and I can't be grateful in English as I would love to. I would like to take them personally and talk with them how grateful I was to have them in my life, because I got a lot of Maoris and Kiwis who helped me a lot when I first come, even without understand nothing that I said,
Yeah.
and that means a lot for me. And my big wish was be able to talk with them and say, man, thank you so much for your help, for your support. You helped me to stay in this country. You open your arms and hug me here in your country and say you're home. So I got a bit emotional at this point because that brings me back many things. Yeah.
I love hearing you talk about that because I know, like, I'm from New Zealand. I'm a proud Kiwi, and I know that that's what Kiwis do. You're like
Yeah.
helpful people. Like, hey man, like I can help you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really, really cool thing. So to hear that you were so well accepted, mate, it's not a surprise at all, but it's always really nice to hear.
Yeah. As I say, it's hard for me to talk about it because I was here in New Zealand 4 years without visit my country anymore. And then also,
Yeah.
of course, my wife come, my son come, and then we decided back to Brazil to visit 4 years after. And was really weird for me because I back to Brazil to stay 45 days. And the first 15 days I was getting crazy to come back. I don't feel home anymore. And then,
Wow.
like my wife say, how comes? I don't know. I want to come back to my gym, to my people, to my students. I don't feel myself at home anymore. It's like was crazy.
Yeah.
And tell us about setting up your gym. What brought on that decision, and how did you do it?
I start teaching class as a voluntary, like just teaching class to don't get crazy. And this guy, the Diego, this my student, who becomes a big friend. He okay. Let's open up the gym. I couldn't at the time because was not. I just got a tourist visa. I couldn't open up any business or anything. But I say I'm keen to teach for free. I don't. I don't care. I just want to do something. And then we start the gym at that time was ZR team because in Brazil, one of my professors who gave me the black belt, he was ZR. And then I start ZR team here in New Zealand. I'm just teaching class. I start working as a labor during the whole day. And the end of the day, back to the gym and teach Jiu Jitsu. And that was my life for like 2 years. And as I always say, I have a big sign on my gym, like nothing happens by chance. Everything in life, there's a reason to happen. I put a tattoo on my arm that say that because I truly believe it. And the COVID come and locked the boards for 2 years and a half. I couldn't see my family, but right after they create the residence, one way to get a residence for whoever was here in that period. So I was able to get my resident because of it. And now I almost sit in New Zealand. I'm about to get my passport because of it. Otherwise, I couldn't. And there's a big reason. Now I understand why that happened. So and then after that, I opened my own gym, and then the things that you know happened properly. One Kiwi and one Maori, two big friends. They told me as soon as I got here the same thing. They don't know each other, but they told me the same thing. Here in New Zealand, the emotions and everything that happen in your life is too much, good and bad. Sometimes you feel yourself in completely dark moment, but don't worry, don't get frustrated because they're gonna pass. When they pass, the same amount of bad feelings or whatever you're feeling, the good things will come in like the same. You know what I mean? The things get really bad before they get really good, but when they start getting good, it's really really good. Trust me. And then I believe it there, and now I can feel it. It's true. The things was really bad for me at the time, but now as we see each other in Las Vegas for the last 3 years, you see the energy is always quite high. I'm always happy. I'm a happy guy. I like to think that anything that happened bad in your life, there is a reason why. I try to see the good things in everything that happened. So yeah, my gym is here in New Zealand for the last 5 years. We start building up a name in competitions, putting my students to compete. I've got all the tournaments that I could get in the country, and now is the time to my students make the same. And that's why we got students every day because they see the result, and which is good. I guess the energy is the biggest thing.
Can I ask you about the jiu-jitsu scene over there? So obviously, rugby is massive, right? Rugby league are both massive, and they take the bulk of the like elite athletes. But what are you seeing now coming through? So you've got some younger guys coming through. What sort of level are you seeing now in jiu-jitsu scene in New Zealand? I mean, are you getting some of these young athletes coming through?
Yeah, man. I truly believe that New Zealand level, when, of course, when you go to Las Vegas, you see the guys who lives in America. Of course, they train jiu-jitsu all the time and they live for that. They have tournaments and good quality of tournaments, which make the game raise up. But New Zealand won't be never like a behind the scene when you talk about jiu-jitsu quality, because who started jiu-jitsu in this country was Brazilians as well. So we bring the same quality. My students who train with me, when they go to visit Brazil and compete there, they think that the level, but no, man, the level is the same. I'm Brazilian. I come from there. I learn there. So we
Yeah.
teach you guys the same thing that we learn. So I believe the quality jiu-jitsu that we have. I got young boys in my gym and young girls at my gym, and I see the young fellas from another gyms that in future they will pop out in the jiu-jitsu scenario in the world. I'm pretty sure. We have quality here. We just need more. What I truly believe, we just need more like the community work together to help each other. Like if we have like a more like federations working together to bring something bigger to New Zealand, put in New Zealand the jiu-jitsu map of the world, that would be amazing. And I sometimes I guess I'm working here, you working there, and we working here, and then just a little bit for each other. And if you go together, get a big amount to everyone. Like Australia, for example, we see jiu-jitsu everywhere in Australia, from one point from another point of the country. The people breed jiu-jitsu. In New Zealand, we're still at the begin, but slowly but surely we get there. We got serious people doing a good job here.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Knowing Kiwis and how athletic a lot of the Kiwis are, like I seriously think in the next 15 years or something that there'll be a New Zealander who like really goes out and shakes up the world in jiu-jitsu. Like we've seen it with athletes from Australia, and I really think, like with people like you, Cigano, and some of the jiu-jitsu clubs over there, and the professors and the teachers over there, um, and the natural ability of New Zealanders. Like, I really think that there's going to be like a world leader out there somewhere, growing up in this, in the towns now, who will go through and really conquer the world stage. Someone from New Zealand for sure.
100%.
Yeah, we'll do what we can too on Roll or Die to try and get the New Zealand Jiu-Jitsu scene and name out there. I think we've had quite a few Kiwis on already, and my co-host is one of them. So what
That's amazing.
we owe it to the New Zealanders as well here on Roll or Die. So
That's amazing. Thanks for that.
so Gana, tell us a bit about your lapel course. What got that started, and tell our listeners a bit more.
The lapel course is a dream for a long time already, but I never had the opportunity to actually do it because of time, because of many things in this last 5 years. At my gym, and the majority of this time, I was the guy running 100% of the class on my gym. And now I'm start like putting my students to start teaching. I teach my students how to teach, and then they can pass through what are we teaching here. And I was just able to create my lapel course because I've created first one program on my gym to follow, and then I can put instructors, and then I can have a time to work on something else. And finally, I got a chance to make this dream come true. Uh, the same lady who look after the marketing of my gym, she got the idea. Okay, let's make that happen because we have something different. And every time when I'm talking with someone or I show some techniques for someone, they say the same thing. Man, I haven't ever seen that in my life. You need to show that for the world. And like one, actually, I got a lot of feedbacks, but one of the biggest ones was, like in Korean that day with Langi say that, man, listen that from Michael Langi, one of the biggest name of jiu on the world. And he rolled with me and I think, oh, man, in my whole life, I haven't seen no one doing this, and you you have something different. So wow, now I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool, actually. So for the listeners, when we were getting ready for World Masters in Las Vegas, we were training. Well, the guy who they got in at Essential was Michael Lange, right? So
Yeah.
Michael Lange is number one. He's a phenomenal teacher, very very good jiu-jitsu. But you were rolling with him and using like your stuff from your lapel course, and then Michael's like, "This is amazing." You ended up
Yeah,
teaching a class the next night too, right? Like you also taught a class for Hector as well. So, and then a few of the
yeah,
guys who were there that night, they came back the next day, and then they're hitting these moves. So it's definitely a great little investment, and it's not expensive. Like the course is not expensive, so
yeah.
like grab
$49.
it.
Come on,
Absolutely.
$49 you spend doing anything.
Yeah, yeah. We'll
Yeah,
put the
What's
link.
up?
yeah, like definitely worth it.
Yeah, we'll put the link on the show notes of this episode. So any listeners out there, they want to have a look at it. I can attest. My husband has already. He won't shut up about it. He's really aware. So Gunnar, what's next for you? What's coming up?
I want to be a champion. Doesn't matter what happened. I want to be a world champion. That's my goal. And honestly, this year was my best year. I did the awesome preparation. I was feeling 100%, no injury, feeling my gas really good. I'm feeling strong. So when I got there on the first day of camping, I rolled with Lang and then say, "Man, you got a big chance to be world champion." And that brought my eyes off. I guess this year is my year. But as I say, nothing happens by chance. And another day, I hurt my knee. I tore my MCL, and 3 days before my fight. At that time, we don't understand. I literally start crying on the mat because I couldn't believe. But it is what it is. Everything there's a reason why. After that, after fight, after come back and see everything, say was not this year. It will be next year. So God is preparing something good for me. So my next goal will be world champion. I will never stop until I get it.
Can you talk about your mindset, mate? Because when that happened, it was heart wrenching to see. Um, but 3 days later, you also competed. You didn't just sit there and go, "Oh, my knee's fucked. I can't do it." You still went to the biggest stage that we had and competed and almost won the match. If he'd swept you the other way, you were fine. But he swept you the wrong way onto your bad leg. So, um,
Yeah, man.
mate, can you just tell us about your resilience and your mindset? Because it was really, really cool to see, mate.
Uh, Thanks for asking and giving me opportunity to talk about it. Man, I come from a poor family. I'm a guy who never had no one to give me anything. I started working. I was 12 years old in Brazil. I had no dad. As soon as I was born, my mom was 15 years old, and my dad just ran away and leave us by ourselves. And nothing in my life was easy. Nothing at all. Like I started working too early and started working too hard. And in my world, I cannot give up for anything since I was child. Because if I give it up for anything, nobody else will come to me and give me. And because of this hard life, I guess my resilience started building up like a really strong. In my country, I've lived in 7 different states. Every time, start from zero every time. So sometimes you up there and then someone come and put a big knife on your back and destroy everything that you built up. So good. I start again with a big smile on face and being happy. And then that time when I just hurt my knee and I see everything passing through my mind, I start crying that time. I was quite upset. I was quite sad. But immediately I just turn the key and say, "No, I can't. I need to fight. I come all the way up here to fight. My students are waiting for me, watch me fighting. My wife, my son, they are waiting for that. I need to. Doesn't matter with or without leg, I will do it." And then God just sent through a big friend who bring a anti-inflammatory from Brazil, really strong one. He gave me that straight away. I put that on. The other day I was able to step on the floor and walk. I say, if I can walk, I can fight. Doesn't matter. And then I jump on the big stage and I fought that guy. Lucky guy. He just put in the guard and hold for the whole fight. Don't let me do anything. I was winning the fight until the last 20 seconds, and then he tried sweep me. I couldn't hold because of my leg. But yeah, I told him after he started following me, and then he messaged me, "Oh, you're so strong, man. Man, it's all right. We're gonna fight each other again one day. Don't worry." Of course, friendly way. I'm not the guy who. But yeah, I want to fight him again. Definitely. I want to know if they're gonna happen again when I'm 100%.
No, with two good legs, you'll be fine, mate.
And
My plan was okay. Forget the legs and use the lapels, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah.
and might we see you at the Pan Packs coming up soon?
I wish, but I don't know. I did the MRI 2 days ago,
Hmm.
and my next appointment be in the next 2 days. My doctor say if I need to do surgery or not. If he say no, you can treat that without any surgery or whatever. I'll prepare myself to go. But I was already like booking flights and accommodation, everything to Pumpex because it was one of the best experience of my life in Jiu-Jitsu was the Pumpex 2023 when I got the medals. Like I haven't fought that way like IBJJF and the biggest stage in the Oceania, and then I feel so well. So I want to come back here one day. And 2024 I was injured, I had some injuries I couldn't fight. And this year, I'm gonna go to the wars and pump eggs, and it will be amazing. But that was my wish. God had a different plans for me, and just need to accept and put His smile on my face and keep following my life. But I
Yeah.
have some students
But
be there.
yeah, that's awesome. Hey, Cigano, how old are you?
37 now.
37. Mate, just in regards to your lapel course, so 37, you're still in your prime, you're a big man, like you're 100 kilos, right?
Yeah,
Your lapel course is not for, you know, an old 52-year-old purple belt who's, now at lightweight, who just uses it to slow people down. Like your lapel course can be used by, bigger guys. So like, for instance, we're talking about Tim's husband, Theo. So he's using it. He's a big guy. You're 100 kilos. Like your lapel course goes right through um, any range, right? So that's one of the things that I really liked about it. And the reason I asked your age is for a 37-year-old man, like you've had an amazing life and some awesome experiences, but I still think what's ahead of you, it's mate, you've got world championships ahead of you. Like I honestly think multiple world championships. I really do, mate. So yeah, you've got time. Yeah, you got time.
thank you so much for reminding me that. I'm really keen to achieve it.
Speaking of time, thank you
For
so much,
sure.
Cigano, for giving up your time. You're even missing some of your kids' class for us to doing
What?
this because of the time difference. It was tricky to get it coordinated, but you were very very accommodating. Thank you
No,
so
I'm
much.
okay. I put my students to run the kids class. I'm okay for the rest of the afternoon.
Awesome, awesome.
Awesome.
We do a little bit of a pop quiz just at the end here, where we Brentos just has a couple of questions for you.
uh,
That could
yeah,
be as
sure.
short or long as you like.
I just want to talk one thing about one thing that you said before about the lapel course be to the people who I developed this game not for me. I developed this game to weaker people, to my students, to the weak ones, to the little ones, to the women's. Because I've heard from Grandmaster Helio Gracie in one interview that he gave a long time ago, and I was white belt at that time, and then he said, you can be a strong man to resist a umber. You can be a strong man to resist a foot lock or any of these techniques, but you'll never be strong to hold a choke. You're gonna sleep out. That was on my mind my whole journey. I need to choke, choke, choke. That's why many lapel chokes. Because if you don't tap, you sleep. Tap or nap. That's the phrase.
I like it, mate. I agree. Here's a few questions for you, mate.
Yeah, sure.
iPhone or Samsung?
Sorry?
iPhone or Samsung?
Was Samsung for my whole life, and now I changed to iPhone for the last year.
Ooh,
I
you
just
enjoying
changed
it?
it. I don't back to Samsung anymore.
um, strength or flexibility?
Repeat, please.
Yeah, strength or flexibility?
Strength is just bad when it's not enough. Strength always.
Pasta or rice?
Faster,
Pasta or rice?
rice 100%.
Rice. Steak or chicken?
Steak 100%.
What's your favorite belt that you've been at? What's the favorite belt you've had?
Favorite what? Sorry.
Your belt, jiu-jitsu belt. What was your favorite colored belt? Blue, purple, brown, black?
I can say is my favorite and the most important, purple.
Why is that, mate? Tell us about that. We get purple a lot.
And the purple is the biggest, in my opinion, in your whole journey jiu-jitsu is your biggest stage. Because you need to be resilient and brave enough to get there, and need to be calm and wise to go up after that. So that for me is the mid of the way. If you get purple, you never in your life you forgot about jiu-jitsu, give up on jiu-jitsu. But from your purple to your black, if you don't change your mind and you don't start being wise, you won't get your black. So there's a big decision there.
Yeah, I agree with you,
I like
Cigano. Yeah, but purple for me was my favorite too. And I've always said I think that also
My
is
one
where
too.
you develop your game the most, or
Exactly.
that you get
Yeah.
known for a couple of things, and that's where you really hone in on those specifics. Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, but it's the hardest belt. It's the hardest belt. All the blue belts want to kill you, all the brown belts want to stop you.
I like it. This is awesome. Um, I might already know the answer to this. What do you prefer, gi or no gi?
Lapels.
Right, I've got two more for you, Cigano.
Yeah.
Do you wear Crocs? Do you know Crocs, the footwear? Do you wear Crocs? He does. Look at those bad boys, mate. It's just gone down. And then the last one, mate. This defines you as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, as a father, as a man, as the lapel king. Can you drive a manual car?
Menu part, what do you mean?
A manual car. So is your car manual or automatic? Can you drive a
Automatic,
manual?
man. Automatic.
Can you drive a manual? Can you drive a manual?
Yeah,
Can you change gears?
we are a man. You need to be ready to anything. But if I my choice is automatic. If I need to, I can drive a truck. But
You're a legend,
Expect
mate.
yourself,
You're a legend.
expect yourself. So, thank you once again for making the time for us. Like we said, you're a very busy man, and with the time difference, also it is a bit tricky. Um, we hope that you get the good result with your MRI, and we might see you in Australia later next month, or if not, we'll see you in Las Vegas, hopefully at the top of the podium, because that's where you deserve to be. Um,
nothing happens by chance.
that's right. This was a fantastic chat. Thank you once again. And Brent, you want to do the wrap up?
Yeah,
I
before
thank
we
you
do,
guys.
Cigano, before we do finish, Cigano, do you want to give us something in Portuguese, mate? Tell whether it's out to friends, family, people back home in Brazil. Give us something in Portuguese, mate.
Oh, nice. Thanks for this opportunity. Gledson Cigano aqui, eu queria dizer a todos aí no Brasil, galera que está assistindo, que talvez não entendeu muito até agora, mas a mensagem final é: procure um esporte que você ama, de preferência jiu-jitsu, que pode te dar um futuro brilhante no mundo inteiro. O jiu-jitsu está de portas abertas no mundo inteiro, e tudo que você precisa é de um certificado de faixa preta e um inglês na ponta da língua e ganhar o mundo. Só isso que eu tenho para dizer. Os.
Mate, you're a legend. Thank you so much for coming on, Cigano. We
My
will leave
pleasure,
it there
brother.
for another episode of our Roll or Die podcast. Please remember to like, rate, and share the podcast as far and wide as you can. Tell your friends. This has been one of my favorites that I've done. So I hope you all like it. I'm sure you will. If you are in New Zealand and you can get along to Cigano's gym, I recommend doing it. He's in Glen Innes. So for those of you in Auckland, you'll know where that is. And you welcome visitors, mate. So visitors are super welcome to go along. So that's really, really cool. That's it. We'll leave it there. We will see you next week for another episode of Roll or Die. But I truly hope you appreciate this one. And Cigano, you're a great man. Thank you again for
Thank you
coming
so
on, mate.
much,
We'll
man.
see you soon, brother.
My pleasure. Os.
Of course.